Well, Valve, you did it again. I had this Warden gameplay all ready to go. I was recording my audio and everything, and I had like kind of a general idea of what I was going to talk about. And this was a great Warden game I played. And then Valve, had to drop a new update. They added a new update where the main focus was the shop rework and how items work, but honestly, there's a lot that's changed visually with Deadlock, and also even like how the game works mechanically. This is the build I'm running. To be honest with you, I only really played one game since this update came out. I've been kind of running around this whole weekend like crazy. One thing I want to point out as well with this video is that you might notice the gameplay audio is a little quiet. My teammates were very talkative this game, and nice guys. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't know if you guys want to hear them talking the whole time while I'm talking. And but yeah, this update's massive. It's honestly pretty crazy that Deadlock had kind of dropped this visual update. You can kind of see already, just based on the footage that you're seeing right now, the minions look a lot more crisp. Abrams, his view model looks more crisp as well. I'm going to show some photos of McGinnis and Dynamo. They've had kind of a little bit of a visual update. It seems that Deadlock is leaning more towards kind of a, I want to say cell shaded style, give or take here and there, but it's a bit more dynamic. It's a bit more crisp than like what you might have expect from like a Cell Damage if anyone's ever played that game from the original Xbox era. And there's also a lot of other stuff too visually, a lot of like nice quality of life improvements. I'm not sure if you just saw it there, but you can see the health of the minions as well as the tower a bit more like clearly now, instead of just this like box that shows the health. It's now kind of showcasing their health with a silhouette, which I love. I think that's a lot more easy to read. That makes things a little bit cleaner to look at. The map itself looks so much nicer. I mean, look at these like ads that you're seeing on the right-hand side. Look at the textures, how like the reflections of those windows. I mean, it's absolutely unreal. During this game, my teammates, some of them were complaining about some quality of life, or like the optimization was a little hit or miss here or there. I didn't have those issues, thankfully. I think the gameplay you're seeing here is pretty crisp. I think the way it looks is pretty crisp. I got away with that not Dynamo. I got away with killing that Bebop there thanks to that deflect, kind of holding him there for a little bit longer. My teammate thankfully came in. But so there's a lot that's changed with Deadlock, and one thing I will say as well is that your character, the guy you play as, might not play the same anymore with these item reworks. I think the main focus or the reason Valve did this item rework thing, or the shop rework, was mainly because, I've said this before in the past, it all comes down to streamlining with Deadlock. I think previously the items, the way they work, could have been a bit abused, especially against new players, or especially against people who might be running a certain composition and whatnot. And I think what this does is it kind of like levels the playing field a bit further with those items. You really don't get those like absolutely ridiculous synergies and combos of items that can absolutely dominate one type of a character on their team and whatnot. At least from what I know so far, and we'll see. Time will tell. One thing I will say also is that it looks like all those Valve leaks, or all those like leaks about updates and whatnot, seem to have been fairly true, and also kind of leaked fairly, at a time when the update was like a week away or so. So honestly, those leaks happened, and within a week, we kind of saw the fruits of those labors and those leaks and whatnot. One thing I will comment as well about the visual aspect of what you might be seeing here is that the boxes are a little bit different now. I like how the boxes look, actually. I think it adds a little bit more charm and a little bit more of a... it kind of cements the theme and a bit of the style of Deadlock as a world a bit more. Instead of just a very default basic version of the boxes, I had a teammate here who you might hear in the audio at some point who disagreed with that. They weren't really a big fan of that, but that's okay. One aspect too that's a bit different that might need some time to get like used to in terms of how it works mechanically speaking. And by the way, just totally saved my teammate there. That Wraith got charged hard. I love picking Abrams' charge as the first ability for that reason alone. You have so much lane control, and you also have such a very powerful first move out of the gate that people typically don't expect Abrams to pick off the rip. But one thing that they reworked a little bit here was how the souls pop up, and confirming souls is a bit different now. I think it's just different visually. I think mechanically it still works pretty much the same, but that visual difference, you might have to kind of like rework or retrain your brain, like when souls are popping up and when to confirm them and how to confirm them and whatnot. It's not going to be as snappy as you might have remembered from when before this update came out. But I mean, yeah, what else is there to say? I think the game looks incredible now. I thought the game looked really impressive earlier. I thought that I go a little way too greedy here. One thing I will say too is they reworked how Abrams' alt functions. There's now a bit of a delay once you click the button at the apex of your launch. I think that kind of screwed me up here a little bit. Also the fact that I didn't have charge ready to go. So got my ass kicked by Rafe there. I kind of deserve that. When I saw this for the first time, by the way the base looks now, holy cow, I think the final fights within those bases are going to be so cinematic and so fresh looking. I mean, and just look how the lane looks on the way out. It looks so good. I cannot stress this enough. I'm probably going to try to stop talking about that at some point during this video, but this game looks so good now. I would be very surprised, though, if Valve planned to do a lot more visual stuff with the game itself, with the like the textures or maybe the maps. I know they're going to probably do a lot of visual stuff with the character models now. It's pretty much confirmed now at this point that McGinnis's older model will not be what you might expect when the game fully comes out and everything. Again, this all just kind of boils down to, this all kind of comes back to, again, though, how close are we to this game being final? How close are we to this game having that release come out? This Rafe now gets way too greedy. This is a great fight here, and I think also the fact that this room, this area now is a bit different. It's now it's kind of like a weird hut now instead of a big building. This Rafe does not get away, I don't think, right? Hold on, let's see. Oh my god, how? Oh, she's still up, that's crazy. Ah. Okay, the Rafe got away. Sometimes it's smart just to not go for a kill, not chase. The Bebop was a bit more stacked than I was in terms of health, so I could have, I don't know. I messed up getting that Rafe there. If I had my charge ready to go, we would have probably had that, but yeah, I don't know. Going back to the visuals again, it's unbelievable. It's unreal how Valve is managing to get the game to look as crisp and as nice as it is now. And there's a few other aspects that have been crisped up a bit, or kind of had a little bit of sear put on them. The movement, for one, the movement's changed a little bit slightly now. Wall bouncing is going to be a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more crisp, depending on the speed that your character has before wall bouncing. And then also hopping on and off the zip lines. I'm not zip lines. What's the better word for it? These things, these ladders that go up and down. I don't know what you want to call those. The line ladders. This Rafe here is just a little too preemptive with that deflect. Sometimes it's Abrams. If you get that charge, it's nice to just sit back and let's see what they do next. Let your opponent mess up first before you start wailing on them with your punch. So the ladders are now, when you climb up them, getting off of them now is a lot more just quick, a lot snappier feeling. Not sure how that Bebop got away, but whatever. The Wraith got killed here. And then on top of that, I mean, they had no defense here. This team just did not really understand the defense aspect of defending for the Guardian there. And I think I moved in here to kind of steal a little bit of their farm in the meantime. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts though in terms of how this game looks now. I talked a lot about in the few other videos that I made in the past how I want them to make this feel more New York, more grittier. I want there to be more trash and more grime and stuff. And I feel like this is definitely the step in that right direction, to where the direction that I had in mind. There are some other visual things that pop up throughout this video that you'll notice. Things like fog coming out of the ground. Things like the textures are a bit more sharper looking. The reflections look good. The buildings and the windows are really, really dynamic and interesting. It's the visual style of this game, I think, is now being ironed out. We are getting to the point, I think, where Valve is ironing out the look and feel of the identity of this game specifically, which is a big part of every Valve game. Valve is very well known for really making, I think one of the biggest aspects to any look and feel of a Valve game is making sure the identity is coherent across the board, and making it very much with it in terms of how the identity works within the world itself. Valve games tend to feel like lived-in worlds and feel as if they are a real part of the characters' day-to-day lives. And I think this update kind of just cements that a bit further. The buildings, the ads, the character models, again, it all just kind of makes this feel a lot more It makes this feel more of like, spiritual or cursed Cthulhu dark magic New York. So I would be curious if they are adding more visual stuff in the near future and what those other visual additions would be. At this point, though, I feel like Valve is nearing the end of that visual design language, that like kind of authentic, or that like look and feel of what they imagine New York to look and feel like in this world. And I think it looks great. I love it. I always thought it looked great, but now it just looks even 10 times cooler in my opinion. And there are parts of the map now that feel more impactful when you get to them, when you get to those stages of the game. Like when you enter your base now, or when you go to the opponent's base, it really feels like you are in the heart of the beast. For Fairfax Industries, or the Amber Hand, or whatever the goofy goober story is in this game so far. It really feels like you are in the base now, or you really feel like you're like in where the the big god thing that you have to shoot at the very end. It feels super. It feels really cinematic to be in that stage of the fight now. I feel like back then it really always felt like you were always still in a tested environment, even with before this update came out. You were always like in like kind of a very blank slate version of what that interior building would look like. But now it feels like, Valve is like ironing that out a little bit, adding some cover options as well, adding some options for evading fights, and also like, making it so that there's more defensive options within that area as well. I think like before this update, if your base got pushed in, you really had to either sit in your spawn to heal up, or kind of abuse and those spawn doors that were on the like right and left hand side of the main base itself. But now I feel like as if there's now more of a visual language, or like a language in terms of like the flow of how that fight might work now in the near future. I think I get out of this fight here because I'm kind of like in a rock and a hard place with the Lash and Infernus. I was really hoping I could just get Infernus in there alone for a bit, but I missed my punches there, so Lash showed up and I had to get out of there. But yeah, I just definitely check out this update. I feel kind of weird making this video now because, like I said before, this is really the only match I've played so far within this update. I basically recorded something on Friday, and I had a whole busy-ass weekend planned, so I had to rush back home, and then I wanted to record the audio that I got here and everything. So I guess I had to play this a bit further. I'd have to kind of like test it out a little bit here and there. They also changed the map a bit, and they also kind of reworked how the walkers and guardians health appears on the map itself. I think actually now it's a lot more clear to read, but you might want to you have to like get used to the new like health reading in terms of when your walker is up or when your guardian is up. At one point in this match, and I think I'll call it out later, this green walker goes down, and I really thought it had a few more hits in it left, but it turned out that the health pool was not as much as I had actually anticipated. And just to talk a little bit about the match itself here, by the way, the Shiv one thing you'll notice right now is the Shiv is very fed. The Shiv on the other team, I'm having a really solid streak, I think, so far with the beginning of this match and everything. We won our lane pretty handily. Our teammates seem to have had a hard time with the lane itself. Again, here's me flubbing up the Abrams ult. I feel like every single time I ulted in this match, it just was a total like flop. So I apologize. There's not really any cool Abrams ults that I land here, but yeah, this Shiv though, like he just is absolutely eating me alive, and the Shiv is very fed. So you'll probably hear my teammates kind of like remark on that a bit. So we really kind of get together as a team and make sure that the Shiv is the number one priority when it comes to taking the lanes back or whatever. And as you can see, the Shiv is now pushing green lane with Lash. That green walker is going to get to like 1 HP, but it'll look a little bit like it might have maybe not 1 HP, but I would say even argue like 10% HP and whatnot. It's just there's going to be a little bit of a relearning or a reworking in terms of how you understand how the ebbs and flows of combat will work now because of this update. One thing I'll also comment on that you might have noticed just now before as I spawned in, but for whatever reason, Abrams is having a weird like moment where he's like He's not walking. He's like legs are stuck or something. This gets fixed at some point, but I don't know. I thought it was a funny glitch. Part of me wonders if that's because of the movement update or if just some weird fluky glitch, whatever it happens. And yeah, this update's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited. It's always a pleasure when Valve comes during this testing period, when Valve comes through and adds like something new like this, and it just really revitalizes this whole game. That's what's been so cool about this testing period with Deadlock, is that the like every time there's like an update like when updates like this happen, it really feels like Deadlock has gotten a whole new facelift. It's gotten like a whole new set of like eyes, nose. I think the main skeleton of Deadlock is still there, obviously, and that's really what the most important part of Deadlock is to me, is the skeleton and bones that, or even the muscle that makes Deadlock Deadlock. But the I think what you're seeing here, what this update really fully addresses, is like the skin, the personality, the emotions, the soul of Deadlock is now. It's cool to see it getting more ironed out day by day as each one of these updates come out. As far as the item shop goes, I'm kind of curious to kind of see what players will think as time goes on with the item reworks and everything. There's a few items that are interesting to me. There's an item now, to my understanding, where you're able to now deflect the magic spells or the abilities of certain characters now. So, like for example, like that even like goes to alts and whatnot. I think from what I know right now, I think that's actually be a very welcomed addition. There are a lot of alts, honestly, and there are times where you could get absolutely like just CC'd out of your mind, or just like slowed down or stopped to a complete halt. And if you have the option to deflect at least like one or two of those alts or those abilities that could cause that, say for example like a Wraith alt or a holiday, a lasso, or even a lash ult, that gives, I think, players more options to get away. But it's balanced in a way, though, where that deflect now is tied to an item that you have to purchase. So if you want the ability to do that, you have to, kind of rework your build for the most part. It'll be interesting to see how that works. I think one thing I do kind of miss now is I don't have my charge reload ability anymore. I do miss that, but honestly, with Abrams like having that, it always felt like he had like an unlimited ammo supply. So there are like certain builds now that won't work anymore. I held on to this ult for too long. I probably could have gotten that Infernus if I just smashed my primary fire there in that situation, but whatever. I'm not this. I really wish I landed some sick ults during this game, but unfortunately I didn't. I do get away from this fight actually, and this was actually a pretty crazy fight. There's like 3 of them on me right now. I am like at death's door. I mean, and thankfully my teammates are all ready to go. Really snappy now, getting off those ladders now. That felt like a lot easier to escape from, and I felt like I had more control over my movement and everything. Not sure how I got my health up that much. This Infernus ulting though, and thankfully Yamato has her ult ready to go. Boom, come in clutch there. Thank you, Yamato. Thank you, teammates. I don't know where the other guys went there in that fight, but I think we're gonna try to like capitalize off that Infernus kill. So one thing you'll notice too, this like little jump pad area now, I think one aspect, and I talk about how the movements has changed a lot. I think one other thing that's changed too is that the map is a bit more beginner friendly for certain movement tech. So you now have the option, instead of like having to get the perfect wall bounce and like punch. Jump your way over to that ledge to get onto the fan that blows you over to the bridge buff. You now have the option to maybe just bounce off that awning a little bit and then crawl your way up to that section of the map itself. So there's again, going back to what I said a minute ago, streamline. I know this is definitely a hardcore MMO third-person shooter, but I think Valve is in the process of ironing out the identity of this game, but also ironing out the when it fully comes out or whatever, ironing out that like new player learning curve a bit, and I welcome that. And one thing I wish I knew the timeline of as well, and this is a very famous video of mine from my YouTube channel, is I would be really curious to hear if Valve is planning to do anything with the bots itself, because I really think that if they want to have it so that new players have a nice safe space to learn the game, to learn its movement, to learn its mechanics, to even learn its certain characters, having that bot space would be very nice. This Shiv, though, I mean, we had to really just use everything on that poor guy, but you can see how fed he is. He's at like 25k souls, Everyone else in the server is below 20K from my understanding right now, but so what else to talk about though? I mean, that's really it with Deadlock. I think I'm really excited the direction of this game that's going in. This update was it's made this game look and feel beautiful now. I thought the game looked great, but now it looks gorgeous. I think if I could complain, though, maybe about a few visual design choices, I would like them to maybe change the building for the Amber Hand. I like the one that's like this big dome, and the other one's also just a big dome, and when you get inside of it, it's just that, I don't know, that building looks really boring to me compared to the other one. The dome building look is very iconic, and I think that's for the Sapphire Hand. Even with this alt, I think I got the Infernus there at least, and stop that Bebop from ulting there. Lash ult coming through. Thank God this Yamato has her ult ready to go. I think the opposing team had a hard time coordinating and getting together for certain objectives. Going back to what I said before in the past, with the 3-lane, I really think a big emphasis that Valve pushed with 3-lane is that you really want to make sure your team is committing to an idea or committing to an objective now versus you splitting up and you're doing things one at a time here. I think that's kind of what spelled the doom for the opponents that we have here today. But I think that's enough about Deadlock for the most part. I don't know. I've talked about Deadlock now for like 20 minutes. So I also like how these videos are a bit of like a podcast or like a kind of a space where I can talk about other shit that's going on with like either YouTube or other video game stuff. So I think one other thing I would like to talk about is the new GTA 6 trailer that came out. Pretty sick looking. If we want to talk about games that look gorgeous, GTA 6 looks absolutely unreal. I would even argue parts of that trailer look photorealistic. I will say, though, no gameplay within that trailer. From the looks of it, it was all cutscenes and like kind of pre-rendered graphics and cutscenes and whatnot. So cool that they're showing that. I think it's neat that we're seeing like I think GTA 6's identity has really been cemented, and I think they have a general idea as to what those characters are and how that world will work for GTA 6. And I'm excited to see GTA 6 when it comes out. To be transparent, though, I don't know if I will be picking up GTA 6 anytime soon. For a few reasons, personally. I obviously, any Grand Theft Auto game that comes out is a generation-defining release. And for me, like, GTA 5, back when it was on the Xbox 360, that was the first M-rated video game I bought. I remember back in the day, my birthday was in October, and that game came out, I believe, in November. And man, that was awesome. That was such a quintessential experience going to GameStop and buying an M-rated video game, and then just going home and playing it and being like, "Too bad, Mom and Dad, you can't do anything about it. I don't even need you guys anymore. It's over." And GTA 5, man, I love the campaign of that game when I first played through it. My big issue though with it was that GTA 5 seems to focus more on the multiplayer aspect of Grand Theft Auto, which I was personally not in favor of. I like when a Grand Theft Auto game comes out and there is a big focus on the single player. I think multiplayer for me within Grand Theft Auto is always an afterthought, but for me, those games are all single player driven. I love the multiplayer in GTA 4. GTA 5, though, just was, like, boring on launch when it first came off the Xbox 360. And if anyone remembers that, the launch for that multiplayer was, like, total ass. It, like, ran poorly, wasn't optimized. I know they've changed it a lot, but, I've grown and, like, moved my own direction in terms of what kind of multiplayer experience I want. I worry that with GTA 6 that it's a shame that we may never have another GTA downloadable content single player experience like what we did with GTA 4 with the Ballad of Gay Tony, with the Lost and Damned. I mean, those DLCs are some of the best DLCs in gaming. Period. I mean, they totally revamped and revitalized that world and everything. And just to speak on just GTA in general, that was one of the few games like Deadlock that I think has nailed New York in such a really cool and really visually striking way. And I don't know, with 5, like, I beat the game, and I believe I got to, like, 100% on the 360 version of that, and it was a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. I think that the single-player experience of GTA 5, for its time, was, like, a 10 out of 10, or at least a solid 9 out of 10 experience, but I was just a little upset that they did not ever pull the punches on the delivering on that single player DLC content. Who knows? I could be wrong about that. If GTA 6 has that, I would be very pumped for it. I am pumped to one day play GTA 6. I'll probably get around to it at some point, but I don't know, man. GTA is one of those games where you either have to, you're not a big gamer and it's like one of the few games you always get, or I don't know. I guess I'm excited for it to come out, but I'm not really planning on playing it day one. I will probably play it and see what the kind of reception for that game was like, and also kind of see what the direction they went with the game for that and everything. I don't want to pay $60 to $80 for that experience if the main focus is going to be multiplayer. That's just me personally. Obviously, I know there's a lot of people that like the multiplayer within GTA. I'm just not one of them. And, if you are, that's fine. I know that with GTA 6, they really tapped the shoulder on those GTA RP guys. So who knows? That could be very cool. This was a sick fight, by the way. This Holiday and this Rafe are just on right now. Talon comes in with his bird and saves. We at least get one kill off of that. I get really close to getting this freaking Rafe, but she parries me, I think, and then that's just, I don't know. We fell apart there. We choked. One thing I want to apologize about the gameplay that you're seeing here today, by the way, is that I do pull up the item menu very frequently. I think I'm just trying to get used to how the item menu now works within this newer, updated version of Deadlock. And gosh, you can actually see right now our team is at a weird disadvantage. They have more tower than us right now, but I think souls wise we're pretty neck and neck here. And again, this is just kind of just to speak to a bit more of if you want to get better at Deadlock, working as a team and making those calls as a team and working in unison to get to a common objective. I find that oftentimes if the matches that go the way or don't go the way I want them to are always the ones where one player is more focused on getting kills, the other ones are more focused on getting tower, another one's always focused on the urn. If you are going to focus on one thing at a time, at least call it out. I am now pouncing on these guys to help slow down the urn turn in here. I believe, though, this actually ends up biting me in the ass. Honestly, yeah. Kind of just went in there and just got absolutely shredded. This Dynamo, though, comes in and does a pretty good job of actually keeping the urn away from the other team, or at least slowing down that urn turn in a bit. He does a pretty sick job of doing some movement attack and everything to get out of here. He is holding the urn still, and actually right here he kind of messes up because, at least in the chat, I recall him saying that he was trying to parry or get out of that fight, but unfortunately he picked up the urn by accident. He's using this ult here to hold him down. I get this. Honestly, this play was a pretty cool one, I think, for the Dynamo, honestly, because at least it kept the other team from just getting the urn a lot quicker, and it gave us a second to maybe spawn back in. I get spawn back in right now, and I guess my focus here now is to rush to help try to stop the urn, but I think it's a little too late. At this point now, we're kind of in defense mode, and that's one thing that I think a lot of players struggle with Deadlock is how defense works in this game. What else to talk about, I guess? I really don't want to talk about the drama with iDubbbz and H3 and who knows. That whole thing, when I made my last video last week and I talked briefly about iDubbbz, or I talked about that spat and everything, I was kind of oh, this is a fun little... It's always fun to see people argue on the internet and when there's drama on YouTube. But that drama is now getting to the point where I'm just this is stupid. This is just a waste of my time. I'm upset, though, to hear that Harley is absolutely not going to be a creator clash. It seems that Ian and Anissa are also not, running creator clash anymore. I don't know what that's all about. I'm just wiping my hands of it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It seems to me that there's something weird and fishy going on with all of that stuff, and I don't even want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. It's not my business anymore. I do enjoy the occasional YouTube drama stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's now silly now. YouTube drama is now in such a weird state where it almost feels as if no one understands that what they are first and foremost are entertainers, and I think YouTube drama, it should function more like WWE drama, or like fighting within wrestlers. This Shiv gets called out pretty hard here. He almost gets away, I think, but I thankfully that punch kind of sealed the deal there. Shiv really has the ability, if he's in a one-on-one situation with you, he could like really hold his own and just regain all of his health back. And like I said before, keeping that Shiv out of the game for as long as we can so that our team can catch up in terms of souls or at least run objectives. That Shiv was really the whole iron force or the whole beam that held the other team together. So very happy that I got rid of that Shiv there. Can I get anything with this ult? Let's see what happens here. Nope, totally cheese it. Nice job. At least we get this Wraith in a corner here, and she really can't escape now. Punch, 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 punch. Don't deflect. Get out of here. I don't know what that Lash got with that ult, honestly, and I think, again, we're winning this fight now because that Shiv is not in the game here. That Shiv is out, and now it's basically, it just seems as if the other team doesn't really have a response to us because that Shiv isn't available at the moment. So we get a good solid wipe going here. I think our Yamato actually gets that green tower taken care of as well. I think, if I recall correctly, I'm pushing our team, or I'm at least in comms, telling everyone we got to go mid-boss or we got to run something here. I wish, if I could go back in time and redo one thing with this game, I would pause right here and make sure our team is aligned in terms of what strategy we're going to do next. That is such a big, crucial component and such a huge tool to use, honestly, if you want to like turn the tide of a match, is pausing and then getting your teammates all aligned together, communicating what we should run next and what we should do next. I guess if we are not doing mid-boss, we are actually just running the Urn, which I'm okay with. We are still at a Souls disadvantage, and Urn is always great to run. You get those buffs and everything, and then also you just get more map control. We now have a lot of the map control here. The other team has just lost those two walkers. And again, it all came back, and I think that their big central pillar, what kept them in the game, that shit being out of the match for like just that 1 minute, really turned the tide of what's going on here. Stealing some of their farm. One thing I will say with like if I could like, you know, ask Valve to add some stuff visually to the map itself, I still would really like if Valve added something that made it more obvious where this item shop was. Also, I don't know, I'd like a little bit more graffiti. I'd like maybe some like smaller graffiti tags, some throw-ups would be kind of funny. I don't know if... I guess I'm wondering what Valve does in terms of how grimy they want to make New York look and everything, because I really want New York to feel more grimy. I like how Central Park's very clean. I also like how the financial district areas of these maps all look cool. But I don't know. I still feel like there should be a lot more that like maybe like a lot more that just adds a little bit more flair to the map itself. Maybe I'm just saying this. I hope to see it. Maybe I really just want to see how far they could really stretch that envelope, and you know, maybe make some of the rooms like this one, for example, like the fish market one, maybe a bit more dynamic and a bit more feel a little bit more like they're part of that world. They're a bit more part of what Valve imagines the fish market to look like in this world. Because honestly, that doesn't even look like a fish market to me, that other room. It just looks like just a bland room here. This room just has a bunch of like boxes. I don't, you know, we'll see. We're still, I don't know if this is the finalized version of like how Valve wants to stylize the game itself, but I will say it feels as if though Valve is pretty concrete or very cemented on the shading of these characters. One other thing that kind of got leaked or talked about a bit was that potentially Talon might get a lot of reworked visual looks and everything. And I know we talked about how Yamato might be getting that also. And I just hope that if they do it with Talon, though, I really want them to keep that Native American aspect of Talon. I think that's such a cool feature. It's such a cool piece of what makes Deadlock so cool to me. Because Deadlock is really... is Valve's most American game. You could argue Half-Life is also Valve's most American game, but Deadlock is centered in, like, you know, America, you know, a part of America that is, like, you know, historically a really big, crucial, pivotal point of the country itself, but it's also like this like dark and, like, you know, cryptic version of America. it's like Ugly Americans, but more like magical, if that makes any sense. I don't know. The model that I saw on Reddit, and I'll try to put a picture of it here. The model I saw on Reddit, I don't know. It felt a little bit like they might be moving away from that Native American aspect of Talon. I hope they don't, though. I like that Talon is Native American. I don't know what tribe he's part of, but I think that's a cool part of his character and his lore. Who knows, though? I could be totally wrong. I could be totally proven wrong, with the redesign for it, or if they kind of change how talent looks and everything. With those leaks kind of, with the item shop leaks pretty much being confirmed as true and, kind of readily available and whatnot, I guess I also questioned how far off are we from when those new characters that got, like, kind of semi-leaked last week, how far are we along from those actually being ready to be put into the playtesting part of the game, or even the actual main part of the game that we see here today? I really want to get more involved in the playtesting part of, or the test hero part of Valve's Deadlock. Just because I think it's cool to see that earlier of a process. It's just, I don't know. I will admit I like my game to be a little bit cooked and a little bit developed here, and this is, not playing in the playtest area of that is, I guess, a part of that. I don't know. What I'm saying is I should maybe mix in a little bit more play-tested maps and maybe even just try to, play some of the characters that are in the playtest mode. One thing that's still annoying about the playtest mode is that you have to be, online at a certain time to do those, so I think that's another problem with me, is that I might not just be online or interested in playing at those times of the day. I don't know if they'll ever lift that. I also don't know why those time zone things exist for the playtest. Remember early on when you could only play Deadlock at certain hours of the day as well? I don't know what that's about. I think it just all comes back to, I want to hear that developer commentary. I really want to know why, for example, why the time limit frames exist for the playtest and everything. And one thing that's kind of cool I saw footage of actually too was that the Sky Bridge character that I guess they're kind of working on currently, you could test it out in the Hero Lab section, and I saw footage of that. And right now this just has a model of Flash, but from the looks of it, it seems like you just play Spider-Man. I don't know. I always thought Lash was Valve's answer to playing as Spider-Man in Deadlock, but it seems that they actually have a more direct Spider-Man comparison. I guess Lash is really more or less like playing, Olimar from Smash Bros, I guess. We're kind of nearing the end of this game here, and our team has really kind of swung back. The pendulum has really swung back in our favor here, and we are kind of now pushing a bit further here to with this rejuve. We were able to push lanes up, which I think was smart, and also we were able to steal some more of their farm. At this point now, we're just trying to catch them out of their base and catch them off guard, and that Bebop was kind of out and about. So at this point, during this part of the match, you're always just trying to hopefully find one opponent who pushes up a little too far, and then you can just hopefully snowball some additional kills. There's a ton of spirit urns here, by the way. I don't know who left all these spirit urns out, but I went ahead and grabbed all of them. I left that one back there, whatever. And let's see here. They changed this too, by the way. This was the first time I saw this also. It's remember how that used to have a little opening where you can jump up these stairs? One thing I have to still check on if that one part of the corner of these maps, if that one jump pad is still clunky feeling. I didn't check it out during this match, but I'm gonna check it out right after this, after I edit this video and everything. But I do recall I mentioned how that part, that weird staircase area leading into the bases was kind of weird and clunky, and I don't know, I don't want to take credit for that. There's probably a million other guys complaining about that. It's a cool feeling to know that, or at least have maybe a sense that I in some small capacity I might have contributed to that voice or that kind of aspect from the community when relaying that information to Valve. I wish I could get more. It would be really cool if someone from Valve ever reached out and was like, "Yeah, bro, it was because I watched you. I was one of the 100 people that watched your video where you said that." And this, you might notice that I'm actually shooting at the patron here because I'm confused. I didn't realize the shrine was still up. To be honest with you, I even watching this footage back, I would have had no idea that the shrine was still up. I really didn't see a lot of visual indication that the shrine was there, where it was, or if it was still up or not. Honestly, I feel like we got in and out of this base so quick. Us having rejuve at this point in the match too, and we really have this team dead to rights. Our base is just pretty loaded right now. We make the smart call to fall back and kind of give them some more breathing room here. Go for these bridge buffs. I think I start to run Urn, but Urn is on their side, so we're just in the mode where we're just waiting for one of them to slip up. And I'm gonna probably switch up my build for Abrams. I'm gonna have to like relearn or switch up all my builds for everybody now. So that's one thing with this update that's kind of annoying is that like all the stuff that you like knew that worked a week ago doesn't work anymore. You have to like relearn a lot of it. You have to like redo all of it, and that's cool. That's cool though. I think that's a lot of fun. I'm never going to be upset about having to relearn Deadlock. As long as the Deadlock core game itself is still as solid as it is here, I think I don't know. It's just I will say though, if I could make a hope or a guess for what the next update would be, I'm really, really, really hoping that Valve implements different game modes. I would really love to have other ways of playing the Deadlock experience, and I think. If I had to put money on it, I feel fairly strongly right now that the odds would be in my favor that the next update could be either... I think the odds of the next update including a different game mode are stronger than ever now that we had this like item rework thing happen, now that we had all the items revamped and the shop revamped and everything. So I would argue that because of that, it makes it a lot... There's more of a case now where different game modes could be a possibility. I mean, it would be cool if we got new characters. I know, I imagine anyone watching this video, that's probably the number one thing on their item list if for a new Deadlock update during this alpha stage, is that they want new characters. I want them too, but for me personally, I would put new game modes above a new character. I would really like to like learn a different character. There's so many characters I still have not played within this game yet. Like Lady Geist, like even Calico or all those other guys. There's just a lot. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I would like a better environment to learn a new character than hopping into a whole match and everything. So at this point too, by the way, Lash is down. We try to work another pick here. I'm trying to hide behind this thing, which I think is so funny because I'm pretty sure I stick out like a sore thumb, but thankfully though, you can see in the bottom left corner of this map that Holiday is a little too pushed up. I think that Kelvin ends up stomping her. And then once that happens, we were able just to kind of roll through. We end up winning this match. I know this isn't the best Abrams game you've ever seen in your whole life. Definitely not the best Abrams game I had. I wish I recorded my comms, though, because I think that was such a big, crucial part of why we won this match, because we were more together as a team here. At that point, by the way, I just bought that item because I was like, I have the money, I have to spend it. We're about to win this game here. And and I don't even know what that item did. I didn't read the description. I know. I hope it doesn't bother anyone watching this video that I don't like go through the patch notes and like read through everything and like develop a script every time I do these videos. This is just a lot of the off the cuff me talking kind of stuff here, but this Lash the way too pushed up. These guys just don't really have defense, man. They should not be this pushed up right now. They're at the point where the patron's down, it's weakened. They need to be in their spawn. They need to be waiting for us to get into that pit and then hold us down in that pit. They even have Lash ult here, which theoretically they could hold out and use to wipe us out to make it so that we can't push in. But they're pushed out. Here they are. I get Shiv into this like closet here. The closets, by the way, also the doors have been widened for that, so it should be easier now to slip into a closet. I hope closets become a bigger part of the mechanics and dynamic of this match, of this game specifically. But yeah, as you can see here, I mean the game's pretty much over here. We got the dead rights now. Dynamo, sick ult there. I tried to get the Lash with a few punches, and I tried to pop my ult here. We're winning so hard that I'm like in their base. But yeah, that's pretty much the game. I appreciate you guys watching everything. Let me know your thoughts on this new update and your thoughts on the video and everything. I appreciate everyone who sticks in and watches these videos. To be honest with you, this is like kind of a series that I'm surprised every time I upload a new one that people are watching. But yeah, here's real quick. I just wanted to show the screenshot of the match statistics. But yeah, thanks. Have a great day. Bye.